Hi, and welcome back to the Glittering Library. I'm Stacy, and we are going through our adventure from February. We went to Paris. If you have been with me this whole time on these adventures this year in the reading journal, welcome back. And if you are new, the whole theme this year for my reading journal was travel, different places that are on my bucket list that I've wanted to see. And I've kind of picked a place every month that I'm going to visit. And we're going to, kind of read something from an author from that country or that city. So for February, we went to Paris. I picked The Mad Woman's Ball by Victoria Moss. It was a very interesting book that you got to go deeper into the early 1900s way of living and the sanitariums of the women in Paris back in that time. So I do recommend the book. It is definitely an interesting read. Then outside of that, there were 4 books that I picked as my favorite for the month. It was Onyx Storm. I don't really need to say a whole lot about that if you haven't gotten into the series. Scythe and Sparrow, the 3rd book in the Ruinous Love trilogy. I am obsessed with that series. I could not get enough of it. The other 2 were The Book of Doors, which was a very interesting concept of a book. I really, really did enjoy it. It was basically a book that can open a door to anywhere. And you follow our main character as she receives the book and then kind of goes on her own adventures. And then The Rose Bargain, which was basically The Bachelorette meets The Selection with a little bit of The Cruel Prince mixed in. It was a book that I really enjoyed. It held my attention the whole time, and I cannot wait to see if there's another book coming. I'm so interested. So that was our February adventure. Now, March, as you can see, we got a lot of shamrocks going on and some Mardi Gras-esque things. So my plan for March was when I was traveling for work. I'm an ultrasound tech, and for 5 years I did travel. So one of the places that I went and I stayed for 5 months was New Orleans. I loved my time there. That's one of my favorite cities in the world. So obviously it was Mardi Gras. Last week I had to include New Orleans and Mardi Gras in this monthly adventure. And then I have a lot of family connections to Ireland and St. Patrick's Day. So our other adventure for the month is Ireland. So we are taking a quick trip over to NOLA, go hang out for Mardi Gras, and then we are headed to Ireland. So this setup is basically a combination of both. I've got a whole lot of shamrocks. I've got a whole lot of Mardi Gras colors and beads, coins, you name it. If it's green or purple, green, and gold, it was probably going in this. I did find a font that I liked, that's what I'm trying to kind of copy here, so it does look a little different than my normal handwriting, but not by much. So the first book on our first adventure that we are going on into the Big Easy, I went with the book Mardi Gras Murder by Ellen Byron, and then for the Ireland trip was Old God's Time by Sebastian Barry. The Mardi Gras book, it was so much fun. I was laughing hysterically reading this book. Yes, at this point in time during this recording, I have already read both books and have kind of done my own review. In my head, they are not in the book yet, but the Mardi Gras one, it reminded me so much of where I grew up. I grew up in a very small town that we had parades and pageants for just about everything. That the only thing that we did not have was some kind of Mardi Gras pageant. We did not have a Miss Pelican Mardi Gras Gumbo Queen. We had some other pageant queens, but not that one. So it was keeping me laughing the entire time. I could picture these people talking after being out in that area. It just took me back to Louisiana and Cajun country, so I was having a blast reading this entire book. The pictures that you will see on the next page, I actually took those pictures during my time in New Orleans. That they are not all of my pictures by any stretch of the imagination. 5 months, I did a whole lot of fun stuff. So one of the things that I'm considering doing are some videos with my adventures of kind of where I went while traveling over 5 years. And I think I wound up at 11 different locations. So if that is something that you would be interested in seeing, leave me a comment below. I'm still kind of debating of if it's something that I really want to do and delve into, because I don't really have videos. I have a ton of pictures, so I'm going to have to find some way to put those together. So if it is something you'd be interested in, please leave me a comment, let me know, and I will see what I can do as far as putting that together for you guys. The other book that I did for this month, the Irish book, was not really kind of a book that I was that into the old gods time. It is set in Ireland. It is written by an Irish author. It was just more of an odd book to me. Like, I just really didn't get into it until like the last 100 or so pages. That you're following a retired cop who he's very recently retired, and some of his other officers come to his house to ask him to kind of shed some light on an old case of his. And you get to see the world through his perspective. He's not really a super old character, but you can tell he's been through a lot in his life, and things aren't always as they seem from his perspective and then from everyone else's perspective. So it didn't really come together for me until the very end. And then there were a lot of different Irish phrases that I wasn't very familiar with and didn't really get. So I think that kind of took me out of the story as well. But outside of that, if you would be interested in either one of those, I mean, they're interesting reads. One kept me laughing, and the other one was more just of an interesting read that, yeah, you can pick them up and try them out for yourself. They may be more your style than mine. But honestly, I think this complete setup is the favorite one that I have done so far. Probably because I got to go back to New Orleans and I got to have fun with all of that world again. That it was just a lot of fun to put together. I did take a lot of different materials than just the normal washi tape and PET stickers. I did use permanent vinyl and heat transfer vinyl, along with stickers that I made myself, PET stickers, washi tape, decorative paper. It was definitely an interesting thing. The vinyl all went down really well, both the permanent and the heat transfer. The problem that I kind of had with the permanent vinyl was you can't really put transfer tape on paper. It rips the paper. So I was having to put everything down by hand, as you were seeing just a few minutes ago. So some of the alignment got off a little bit depending on where I was putting things down. And then the HTV, it did work. I will pull out my little mini Cricut iron in a couple minutes on one of these other pages and kind of show you what it looked like. But the main problem was, one, I had things surrounded by stickers and other plastic things, so it was starting to melt some of the surrounding things. And then it was also buckling the page. So the longer the heat was on there, the heat was starting to buckle and wrinkle the page below it, so it didn't work as well with ironing it down. Not to say that that doesn't work, it just didn't work in this instance for me. So I'm gonna have to keep working on that to see if I can come up with a different way to do it and make it work in a different situation. But it was a lot of fun using it. I got to use some of my materials and files that I have had for quite a while. In this little setup, I decided that I was going to make little frames for all of my numbers at the end of the month, all of my statistics. So each one of them is going to kind of go in the little circle, and I'll have everything kind of in there. And then my books read list that I'm just going to keep my record of all of the books that I've read and put my favorite ones at the bottom and kind of go from there. This was a really fun setup. I know I keep saying that. I really had a lot of fun. I found glitter tape from the Dollar Tree that I used. I had stickers that I printed either from the internet or different pictures that I had found. My pictures, different signs. It just was a very, very fun setup. So in addition to the quote-unquote traveling books, aside from it being just, oh, I'm going to this location, it also helps with my Reading Around the World challenge. I'm trying to challenge myself to read more books by authors from different countries. So by doing this of picking a different location every month, I get to work on that. I get to add to my list of things. I've been adding to it with other books as well, but I definitely get to add something from that particular location if I haven't read a book from an author from there prior. So it's been a lot of fun. I get to kind of go around and figure out what books are available through my library and would they be something that would interest me. I probably need to read summaries a little bit better. I think that was my issue with Old God's Time, was I misread the summary and I didn't realize exactly what the book was about. So I will definitely have to keep that in mind of rereading the summaries just a little closer to make sure that I'm actually understanding what kind of book I'm reading. So heading back to the New Orleans section, I don't know, I get happy every time I think about New Orleans. Like I said, I spent 5 months there. I went starting, it was July, and I left around November. That I did not get to stay for Mardi Gras. I did not get to experience that fun stuff, but I did get to experience quite a few things, including the Halloween parade, which is probably as close to Mardi Gras as I have come and probably will come for quite a while. That they called it the Crew of Boo, and it was so much fun. They threw beads, they threw cups, they had all kinds of fun throws. They had all the dance troops, they had the bands, they had floats. It was a great time. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I really love the fact that all I had to do was walk a block from my apartment and I got to experience it right there. So that was definitely the most fun experience that I had while I was down there. So getting a chance to put Mardi Gras beads all over things and put masks, put my pictures, it makes me smile, it makes me laugh, it brings back a lot of memories. And like I said, if that's something that y'all would be interested in watching and learning about, I can I can tell some stories. Some stories I'm going to have to either keep to myself or change the names to protect the innocent. There are a lot of stories that I may have to change the names, but it was a fun time. That and all the other places that I got to go. So anytime I can include my own pictures, I definitely will. I would have loved to have included a lot more pictures. Who knows, maybe down the road I may do just a New Orleans month or something. I don't know. That might be an idea. Maybe I have to put that down on the idea book. Yeah, this little necklace combination just makes me smile every time I see it. That was them. That is them. That's what everything is all about, is having a lot of fun, great food, and having a wonderful, wonderful party. That is the New Orleans life, the laissez le bon temps rouler. So here is where we actually move in to our side trip to New Orleans. I didn't wind up using all of the pictures. Kind of wish I could have, but on a 2-page spread, it was just a little much with everything I was trying to make happen. But you gotta have the purple, green, and gold everywhere. You gotta have the fleur-de-lis. I tried to do something a little different, not only with the statistics page, but also with the book pages of the little round frames to put the book covers in. That, I don't know, I thought it was cute that they kind of get to sit inside the frame and be part of everything, make it a little more interesting. That was a glitter tape I was talking about. I actually found that at the Dollar Tree. That was such a cool find. It's like not sequin, it's glitter tape, but they look sequins. And they change colors. It reminded me so much of a pair of shoes I have that I actually wore to my brother's wedding. They were 6-inch spike heels that are like peacock colored shoes. Most gorgeous shoes I have seen in a long time. I had to have them, and yes, I wore them at my brother's wedding, and he was still taller than me. That's what happens when you're 5'2". Everybody's taller than you. But it reminded me of that. It reminded me of the colors. Yes, I'm going to go off on some tangents. I love the picture. That was just an afternoon walking around the French Quarter down in front of the St. Louis Cathedral. Yeah. Oh, I miss that place. And that picture came from one of the cemetery tours that I did. And then this is also one of the more famous landmarks down in the French Quarter. I cannot think of the name of it right now, but it is one of the buildings on a corner that is just a very famous landmark. And we have to have our passport-ish sticker. Bourbon Street, you cannot have anything about New Orleans without Bourbon Street. And then I did go back and add some things, which you will see in the final flip through. I just kind of went back and colored in the little dots all along this frame and the top border just to make them sparkle. I mean, I am all about the sparkles and the glitter. You can't have enough in my book, and I don't think I have met someone from New Orleans that did not believe the same thing. That could be why it's one of my favorite places. I hadn't thought about that they are all about the sparkles and the bling, and they love their accessories. So that could very likely be why it's one of my favorite places. That and the food. Oh my gosh, the food. And then our last setup page is the trip to Ireland. You've got our Guinness beer, all of the Clovers, our shamrock frame, some paper that I still kind of had. It was a hodgepodge of things to put together, but I like how it turned out. I think it was kind of cute. It's got the little passport stamps, some postage stamps, and I did the same washi tape border that I did in the very beginning along the top edge of this page, just kind of to tie it back in to the beginning. So they kind of match. The same with the Clover stickers. There's some of the same ones. So that's why I kind of fast forwarded. I didn't think y'all really wanted to watch the washi tape be putting down again. Like I said, the book wasn't necessarily my favorite, so I may be looking for another book by an Irish author just to have something else to read. That's the other thing I've been trying to do every month, is either books set in that country or location, or authors from that country or location, just to kind of give a little bit more variety. So if y'all have any suggestions, please leave them below. Leave me a comment. Let me know some books that I need to read that are Irish authors. They are set in Ireland. If you have some really good ones that are set on St. Patrick's Day, those I'm definitely looking for. If you got a suggestion, bring it. I want to see it. And if you have been enjoying this so far and would like to continue our little travel adventures through the rest of the year, if you would like and subscribe, I would greatly appreciate it. I'm trying to put up a video a month. I'm trying really hard. I'm still doing a lot at work and my real job, so sorry if I'm not posting exactly at the beginning of the month. I'm trying to get it to you. Just know that I am always reading. I have a plan. I just may not have it up where everybody can see what's going on in my brain at the moment. But I am definitely trying to get it out there to you guys. I've been enjoying sharing everything, and this is definitely a new thing for me. That last year was the first time I did a reading journal. This year is the first B5, and trying to do spreads and coming up with a monthly theme. Like, this is all very brand new to me. So it is definitely something different, but I have been enjoying it and trying to come up with how to make things look a little different. So we are moving in to the final, just little additions on everywhere. I had to go back and add more NOLA to the very beginning and a little bit more on a couple other pages. And then we will be doing our final flip through. This was just trying to figure out where the gold coins were going to go, and so the luck of the Irish, they had to go there. So here is our final flip through. So if you've made it this far, thank you, and I hope you enjoyed this double adventure that we took this month. I know I did, and I hope that you will join me next month for another one. So I'll see you then. Thanks. Bye.